All right now, secured entrepreneurs, Miss Aurora told you that I was going to come back today. It is so early. Oh my gosh. I think that we're in the 5 o'clock hour now because all of these secured entrepreneurs here know that Miss Aurora has a mastermind call at 4 a.m. on my coast. So I had to wait until after the call. So now I think it's about 5:15. But I told you all that I was going to come back to do Wealth Magic by Damon Brand. This is the second book that we're doing here on 3 a.m. Shenanigans that Damon Brand wrote. This happens to be one of my favorite Damon Brand books. This is my favorite. And I think that all of the secured entrepreneurs who are into all of these things, I think you too would appreciate this book as well. So we've already said our morning affirmations. For those of you who are catching this video and you did not get hype, go back to the Law of Change. That's the one we did earlier around 2:45 this morning. Or I'm going to put the link down in the description box to the page on AurorahDayConsulting.com where you can get all of the affirmations and begin to, get hype every day off of those affirmations. But for now, I want to welcome you to 3 a.m. Shenanigans. Okay, so before we begin, everyone here in the community knows that Miss Aurora likes to give the disclaimer that all of the secured entrepreneurs and anyone who is visiting, we all have an open mind towards whatever people choose to practice as it relates to their spirituality, whatever religion they are a part of. We are open-minded about everything that people are participating in for their spiritual growth. So we always ask that you keep an open mind when we do these books, okay? Because when we're talking about rituals and things like that, well, we know that everything you do in your daily life is a ritual. You wake up and brush your teeth, that's a ritual. You drive to work a particular way, that's a ritual. That's the way you're going to get there every day. Anything that you do every day, repeatedly, that is the ritual in your life. Okay, so it's no different. All right, but I think that you all are going to appreciate the way that Damon Brand wrote this particular book, Wealth Magic. Okay. And the secured entrepreneurs who have already read this book, who has done some of the practices that he suggests in this book, comment below, let us know. If you plan on practicing after we review this book, please comment below and let us know. Okay, so I want to start with how the rich find their wealth. I've often heard it said that wealthy people don't waste their time doing magic rituals. I've also heard it said that most occultists are poor. There is truth in both these statements. Many occultists are almost afraid of money, and lots of rich people become rich without magic. But there's more to it than that. Many of the super rich do use the occult and initially became wealthy as a result of magic. I don't believe the conspiracy theories about secret societies controlling all the world's wealth through magic, but I know that extremely rich people have used magic to gain wealth. There are some magic books that would have you performing prayers and chants every day, burning candles constantly, and begging spirits for help until the day you die. The super rich learned a better way, and that's what's on offer in this book. It's not the same method used by anybody else, but it accesses the same power. It does take time and effort, but it doesn't require a lifetime of magic. A lifetime of magic is not a bad thing. Magic is about getting results, but it can also be about honing your life, meeting challenges with confidence, and refining reality to suit your development. But when it comes to wealth creation, there is something appealing about a single working, such as the one presented here, that can make the fundamental changes required to accept more money into your life. There are many ways to get rich, and there are some people who get there without the slightest knowledge of magic. You can be born into money. You can win money or learn to play the markets. But for many people, magic is the answer, and it can be for you. All right, let's get into deciding what you want. Before you begin the operations in this book, you need to spend some time thinking about what sort of money you'd like to have around you. The way to do this is to think of the life you want and then work backward. If true prosperity for you would be to buy a house, help out some friends, give something to your parents, get a new car, go on vacation, and set aside enough money to start your own business, then you might need $1 million or more. You might need less. If you also want to own an airplane and learn to fly, or have your own stable so you can ride horses again, you may need more money. Work out how you want to spend your days. If you were to win the lottery, what would you actually do with your time on a daily basis? Once you bought the house, the car, and traveled, what would you do each day? Work that out, and you have an idea of the actual wealth you need and more. Wealth you need and desire. This may sound like a minor thought experiment, but it is an absolutely vital part of the process. Without deep reflection on what you really want, you may spend months aiming too high, too low, or for something that just won't make you happy. Take the time to work out what you do with money if it came to you. Don't just say, I want 40 million in the bank. Why do you want the money? And what will you do with it? Money is meant to flow, and the magic will get money flowing into your life so long as you are going to use that money. You need to think of the ways you are going to use the money and how that would make you feel. The feeling of spending money joyfully is as important as any other magic. So you need to know what you would enjoy spending your money on. Now here's where Damon is about to give us the juice. He's going to tell us what we need to be doing daily to get in on this wealth magic. Preparation and daily practice. For the first 3 weeks, you only need to take notes and perform a process known as the daily practice. Most occultists will tell you to keep a notebook or magical diary of some kind to record the magic you've done and the results you notice. I suggest that you keep this notebook with you at all times. Make it a digital notebook on your phone if that's easier and more secret. And fill it in after any magical practice. You should do this from the first day right until you complete the final working and beyond. Note down the magic you perform and anything you experience that is of interest. It can be as simple as writing, did the daily practice, did the first ritual, felt nothing. Or you may write, performed the second working, felt a vague intuition about my next business move. If you see results or changes, you can note them down too. Slight increase in profits this week. Avoid writing about a lack of results. That's important. It is never wise to write no results yet, because even though that might feel accurate, it may not be accurate. Results could be taking place or developing in the background. You should not discount them. You don't know how long the results will actually take, or whether results are manifesting in subtle ways. So you should not comment on your fears. To do so could make them amplified. If you notice unusual coincidences, magical moments, or intuition about any particular subject, write it down in your magical notebook. This is where you can discover the secrets to your own wealth. You may find that in these simple notes, there are hints and clues about who you are to become. Write freely and easily. Make it quick and do it every day. Then review your book every week or so. You aren't searching for answers here, but allowing yourself to notice changes and patterns. Okay, so now he's telling you to start taking notes for the first 3 weeks. You got to have your daily practice. Okay, so that's how you're going to start for the first 3 weeks. So now here's where he's telling you how to charge the talisman as you're doing this. Now, all of the secured entrepreneurs know that sigils do not work for Miss Aurorah in this lifetime. However, the talisman seems to be okay with me, and I'm going to show you what they look like, and a lot of them are very beautiful. Okay, so here's how you charge the talisman. This book makes use of several sigils and talismans. Whether you use an ebook or the paperback, it is your perception of a sigil that makes it powerful. So long as you can see it, the image will bring magical power. Should you wish to print out copies of the images, they are available free as a PDF at the www.galleryofmagic.com Wealth Magic FAQ page. It is, however, just as effective if you use the images in the book right where they are. Your book, whether paperback or ebook, becomes an altar for the magic, and there is no need for anything external. To charge the talisman, I suggest using the process as outlined below. This combines an ancient working with a method that was developed by the Gallery of Magic. The combined method is referred to in this book as image fire. Be aware that when you charge a talisman with image fire, you are actually taking its image within yourself and connecting it its power. I think that's a typo. I think it's connecting to its power. Okay, that is why it works even on electronic sigils. You are charging the image as you perceive it. The first part of the image fire method is called light from the dark, and a full description of this technique appears in Magical Riches. It is reproduced in a slightly abridged form in the following paragraphs, along with additional details for controlling and directing the energy. For each talisman or sigil, you need to perform the image fire technique just once. You are free to repeat it if you feel that you didn't get it right, but there is absolutely no point in repeating this daily. Once is enough. All right, and then he gets into how it is you're going to perform the image of fire technique. So now let's get into the first working, attracting increased wealth. When you have performed the daily practice for 3 weeks, you may already be noticing changes in your life. You should be ready to start attracting increased wealth. The first working can be dramatic or gentle in terms of results, but it is generally less disruptive than the rituals that follow. This enables you to get into the magic slowly while giving you the satisfaction of seeing more money come into your life. If you've read everything that precedes this and spent time on introspection and the daily practice, you can proceed. If you have skipped ahead to this part of the book to get started, I strongly urge you to go back and read everything that comes before this. There are important keys to success in the preliminary material. This ritual is designed to bring more money to you generally and is not necessarily about changing your life completely. It is a good introduction to the power and should give you the confidence to move into the more imaginative rituals that bring the shock of real wealth. Remember, though, that you should allow the results to come when they come, rather than trying to force them to manifest. The greater your patience, the faster the results. Do not skip this ritual. As a reminder, you should work through this book in order, and you should continue with the daily practice every day. Perform this first working every day for 17 days. If you have to miss a day or two, that is acceptable. Just add a few more days of ritual practice at the end to make sure you've done at least 17 days of magical work. You can start this ritual on any day of the week, and it can be performed at any time of the day or night. Now, this first working is a visualization, and I'm going to show you the talisman that you would have to charge and begin to work this first working. Now, Damon says it can be any day of the week or any time, but all of the secured entrepreneurs know that Miss Aurorah's ruling planet is Jupiter. So I always choose a Thursday in the hour of Jupiter. So I always suggest to people that their ruling planet and the hour of their ruling planet is great to begin your rituals, your petitions, your prayers. Okay. It has been extremely effective for me in my life. Okay. Now I want to show you this talisman. Look at the talisman. Okay. Now, Damon tells us that, just looking at it and allowing it to become a part of you is supposed to work. You all already know that sigils don't work for Miss Aurorah. Okay. And I suggest that, you print these things, or, like he's saying, you could just view it. You can charge. I like to have it to where, it's in my possession. It's separate alone, and I charge it that way. I like it that way. Okay. It may be different for you. Comment below. Let Miss Aurorah know. But, it's very beautiful. Okay. And he's telling us that you need to ensure that you have charged the talisman as described earlier before you commence the ritual. Place the talisman before you on the floor or table where it can easily be seen. Say the following words out loud. I am grateful for all that I have. I am humble when I revel in the wonders of power. As you say the first sentence, take a few moments to think of things that you are truly grateful for. This may be the breakfast you enjoyed, good news you received, an attractive face you saw in a crowd, or a good cup of coffee. Don't try to be grand and impressive, but simply think of recent pleasures that genuinely make you feel grateful. Now, he goes on to give you these words that you should be saying during this ritual. And there are a lot of words. So he has a whole chapter on how it is that you pronounce these words, right? Let Miss Aurorah show you the second working. And the second working is Omnipotence Transformation. In this working, you call on 3 angels of omnipotence to transform your life in a pact that will dedicate you to a life of wealth. Bear in mind that angels of omnipotence can bend time, reshape thought, and shift reality around you. This is not always a pleasant experience, and it is almost always disruptive. The angels are not cruel or aggressive, but bring about the change you need, and that can be a little uncomfortable at first. There may be days where you feel depressed, exhausted, and times when this working seems to be pointless. The only way out is through. Keep doing the working, and these angels will be bound to you, ensuring that your life changes in ways that make way for wealth. All the magic that follows is empowered by this working. It takes courage to ask these angels for such a dramatic change, so be certain you know what sort of life you want. The 3 angels of omnipotence are Elu Batel, Ibu Huel, and Atu Suel, all revealed in the 6th and 7th books of Moses. How much do we love that? I don't want to get started here because I would pause so quick and start saying some stuff, but I'm gonna leave that alone, okay? Because I could get in on this one. There are some modern rituals that call on Elu Batel directly without the other angels, but we have found that method to be too disruptive. Indeed, many people have found that when called on directly, Elu Batel can turn your life upside down in an unpleasant way and can bring an almost overwhelming darkness into your life. We have found that by calling the 3 angels in harmony, as set out in this ritual, okay, that must be a typo, as set out in this ritual, the negative effects are completely avoided. The working will still cause disruption and change, but it will be change that you can handle in accordance with your desire for wealth. It may be uncomfortable, but that is all. All right, now here's the talisman for the second working. Look at this. So, it all looks familiar to everyone, okay? And he's telling us, as well as calling out words of power and angelic names, you will be required to sing the angel names. Do not worry if you cannot sing well. All that is required is that you attempt to sing the name. There is no right or wrong. All that matters is that you try. First, you call upon the angel by saying its name. Then the final call is sung. So the name Elu Batel, which is pronounced L-U Batel, might be sung on a single note or 4 notes with 1 for each syllable. Do not be afraid. Okay? And then, of course, he's going to get into all the words of power. All right? And like I told you, there's a whole chapter on all of these words and how you pronounce them so that when you get here, you're not, all jacked up. Okay? Let's get into the third working. The third working is to attract more money. After the power shifts of the second working, this ritual is kept quite low key and is aimed at getting more money flowing through your life. Wealth isn't about saving so much as it is about trusting a greater flow of money into your life and back out as you spend it well. This ritual gets the money flowing in and gives you the opportunity to begin spending with pleasure. Cal Varnea, Cal Varnea is a spirit working under Aurorah Dey. This ritual enables you to gain rapid access to this spirit without the extensive rituals that are usually required. Despite this, the sigils and their magical construction ensure that you will be kept safe. To begin, you will need this seal of calling. Now here's the seal. Again, looks very familiar. Okay? And I'm just going to read to you some of what he's telling us to do in this third working. He says, face north, gaze at the seal of calling for a moment, and then put your left hand over it and say, Ah, hez, re, ye. Ka, meet, eon. Said, lay, ye, tom, os. Sas, ma, ga, ta, bi, yul, e, kos. E, o, a, l, r, e, za, we, in. You can remove your hand. If you need to write it down, the words on a separate piece of paper, first do so. If you can learn them, that is fine, but it is not required. Okay, now I want to show you the talisman for Cal Varnea. All right, this is the talisman. Again, look, the Star of David here. Okay. Be aware that the circular sigil at the top of the central square is the seal of Aurorah Dey. The seal of Cal Varnea is the image at the lower half of the central square. So see, I would never be able to draw these things. Many of you are artists. You can draw them for yourself and do the research on the origin of these talismans, how far back they go, in Judaism, and maybe even before that. But most of the sigils and the words of power come from Judaism. Okay, as you just heard me read, he's telling you that the angels in the last working come from the book of Moses. Okay, so these are not unfamiliar angels or unfamiliar spirits to man and mankind. Hello. Okay. All right, let's get into the fourth working. This one is the talisman of wealth. The angel represented by this talisman is Raziel. Charge the talisman as you have been instructed. Now look at this talisman. Again, looks very, very familiar to many of us. Okay. I want to say the fourth working is the one that I like. I like this one. Okay. I think that you will too. Before this ritual, know that there are certain moments where you will be required to imagine several scenes briefly. For example, at one point you will say, I passed through the arch of stone. Imagine yourself walking through an archway made of stone. There is no correct way to do this. Just picture something as close to the words that you are saying as possible. The image may change over time as you perform the ritual, or it may solidify into something quite distinct. Simply say the words and picture what you can, and feel the sensations being described as you say them out loud. Raziel is written as Raziel. You will also call on an aspect of Raziel known as Arzel, which is written in several different ways. Speaks it as written and it will work. Okay, that's a typo too. Speak it as written and it will work. Place the talisman before you and say, "This is the beginning. I open the way." Okay, so then he gets into all of these words of power. Okay, you will perform this working for 22 days. Don't let anybody else touch the talisman or this book during that time. Okay, I want to say something. The fourth ritual is one that I know many of you will really enjoy, because Angel Raziel is familiar to a lot of people. Angel Raziel is familiar to a lot of business people. Angel Raziel is familiar to a lot of entrepreneurs. Angel Raziel is very familiar to a lot of spiritual people. Okay, all walks of life. Angel Raziel is an angel that many people call on. Okay, and as you saw, the talisman is very beautiful. Okay, but once you activate that talisman, it is a very what do I want to say? It's potent. Okay, so that's why he's telling you, don't allow anybody to touch the talisman after you have charged it and you have made it a part of yourself and you began this ritual, and you'll be doing it for 22 days, right? And don't let anybody touch the book. Okay, which is why Miss Aurorah told you that for each of these workings, I would create a separate book. I would print out that talisman and have a book for that, because you are spending many days working each of these rituals. Okay, so that's what Miss Aurorah would suggest. If you have any other ideas, feel free to comment below and let the Secured Entrepreneur Movement community know. Okay, all right, let's get into the fifth working. This one is for changes and competition. This working is aimed at stimulating change and growth in your life, and will also help to defeat the competition. While working this ritual, you may find this is an ideal time to launch a new project, begin new marketing, or put out the word about your skills. This working is almost identical to the first ritual with a few minor changes. And here is the sigil. Look, it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. I could not make out any of the symbols. But again, many of you are going to research as well these symbols, so you will find your way. Okay, of this ritual you're going to perform for 17 days while maintaining the daily practice. Okay, so it's just like the first working. There are 7 workings in this book. I will not do the 7th working. Okay, I think that the 7th working is very deep, and I want the Secured Entrepreneurs and the visitors who come by for these videos to have the opportunity to view the book for themselves and decide whether or not the 7th working is for them. Miss Aurorah has not worked the 7th working. Okay, it hasn't been in my spirit to work the 7th working, but I actually like the 6th working as well. The 6th working. Okay, so let's get into that. The 6th working is for wealth and honor. This working is short, but requires concentration to achieve good results. Your aim is to attract the attention of the spirit Aniquel, or Aniql, okay, who will give you wealth, but also a good reputation. The way you are perceived is priceless, so this working is one of the most important as your opportunities begin to expand. Sit in a quiet place with the charged talisman of Aniquel before you. And here's the talisman. It's very beautiful. Okay, he's going to go on to tell you the words of power that you need to say. And there are many of them. Okay, there are many of them. And he tells you to repeat this ritual for 11 days. Some people prefer to go for longer because they sense immediate results and want to build on them. You can keep working with NaQL for as long as you desire. Don't forget to keep up the daily practice. Now, secured entrepreneurs, this book is small, but there's so much in the book. All right. And I want to thank you for putting up with my reading in the dark. You see, I have limited light this time of the morning. Okay. So I do the best that I can, you know. In any event, I want to thank all of the secured entrepreneurs and everyone who has visited us in this video. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below with your thoughts and suggestions and things like that. Tell us what you think about this book, Wealth Magic. I know that you will enjoy and actually see results from these rituals. And whomever is performing the 7th ritual or will perform the 7th ritual, please send us an email here at info@AurorahDayConsulting.com and let us know what you thought about the ritual, how the ritual worked for you. You know, I'm really, really curious because Miss Aurorah will not be working the 7th ritual, okay? But the 4th and the 6th ritual are my favorite rituals. And I'm telling you now that they will work for you, okay? So that's it for Wealth Magic today. You all know you can find me, Miss Aurorah Dey, at AurorahDayConsulting.com. And until next time, ta-ta.